Yes, good morning everyone. What we had learned previous class? Heredity and environment. Which is determine the behavior? Heredity or environment? Nature and nature controversy. We had learned that different study findings. The finding is that heredity and environment equally contribute. But we are nursing professionals should be think about caregiving and therapeutic aspect. The environmental factors can suppress or reduce the hereditary factors. So we can use the environment, favorable environment to health can prevent diseases transfer from one generation to another generation. So which is previous class we had been learned, which was wonderful experience we having. Today we have to start with brain and behavior. Is brain determine behavior? Question. Angela George. Can you hear me? Yes. Question is that, is brain determine behavior? Yes or no question? Yes or no? Angela. Yes. Yes, brain determine behavior. Every parts of brain do different job too. So this section we are going to detail about. Different parts of brain affect different aspect of behavior. So this is first overview. Frontal lobe important for planning, movement, memory. Temporal lobe hearing, visual processing, etc. Every behavior determined by brain and their parts. Brain perceives stimuli, internal as well as external, instruct mind to behave or respond. Brain manipulate biological motives. Example, thirst, hunger, sex, etc. Cause behavior. Brain determine health. status of individuals. So next we are going to detail about each parts of brain. Nervous system. Already we had been learned in anatomy. Nerve system. Two major divisions, CNS, central nervous system, PNS, peripheral nervous system. Look at this. CNS, brain, spinal cord. Then this is peripheral. Look at this detail about nervous system. Peripheral, central. Peripheral nervous system divided into autonomic nervous system, somatic nervous system. Atomic nervous system divided into sympathetic, parasympathetic. Then central nervous system divided into brain and spinal cord. Brain having three important parts: forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. Forebrain divided into Metencephalon is also subdivided, including central cerebral cortex, basal ganglia, hippocampus, and amygdala. Metencephalon including thalamus and hypothalamus. Midbrain into Mesencephalon including T, ectum and egmentum. Hindbrain divided into Metencephalon, it having bones and cerebellum. Then Mesencephalon, medulla. So this is pie chart, which means a flow chart to explain about, express about what are the important every parts of brain. Next we are going to detail about each parts of brain and their functions, how to control individual behavior. Central nervous system, body's master control unit. Spinal cord, look at this. Now between the brain and peripheral nervous system, brainstem connect the brain to the spinal cord. Brain divided into three major parts, already we had been learned. Peripheral, autonomic nervous system. Its major functions are regulate involuntary bodily processes, including heart rate, respiration, digestion, pupil contraction, operate automatically without conscious direction. That's why it's called as autonomic nerve system. Then somatic nerve system carries sensory information from sensory organs, mainly eyes, nose, ears, CNS, relay motors, movement, command to muscles, control, voluntary movement. A sympathetic nerve system, autonomic nerve system divided into sympathetic. So this system largely involved for fight or flight behaviors, the time of stress. Then peripheral nerve system calm the body and help the body to conserve energy. Parasympathetic nerve system, conserving energy. So students, this is important chart, flow chart, explain about each parts of brain and simply their functions, how control the behavior. Some more pictures are available. Look at this central nervous system. Some more pictures available regarding PNS. Autonomic and peripheral, can see that. Autonomic, directly. Parasympathetic, directly from the brain. Sympathetic, spinal, spinal nerves. Some more clear pictures are available. Brain, how to connect with every parts of our body. Look at this sympathetic, the spinal nerves connect with sensory organs and internal organs, including heart, lungs, stomach, digestive system, reproductive system, urinary system. Then parasympathetic, nerves directly from the brain. Cranial nerves. This is brain, parts of brain, forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. Some more detail about each parts of brain. Premotor cortex, motor, which means movement. Motor cortex, responsible for also movement. Somatic sensory cortex, so this is a brain area responsible for sensations. Parietal lobe, gustatory area, then Vandenhuyn's area, primary visual cortex, so this is the area parts of brain responsible for vision, cerebellum, primary auditory cortex, for hearing, prefrontal cortex, Broca's area, this detail going on. 3 parts of brain, cerebrum, mainly involving remembering, problem solving, thinking, feeling, etc. Control movement also. Then cerebrum is composed of 2 hemisphere, deeply grooved 200 million neurons called corpus callosum. Corpus callosum. So this question may be asked in 2 mark in anatomy, but outer cell called cortex. Billions of neurons consist. Second, cerebellum, back of your head, control coordination, mainly balance, coordinate every senses. Sits beneath the cerebrum, control autonomic functions, breathing, digestion, heart rate, blood pressure. Midbrain, Mesencephalon, structure of major nuclei and fiber tract, extends on to the hypothalamus. Responsible for integration, reflection, including visual reflection, automatically turn away from dangerous object. Then auditory reflection, sound, automatically keeping the head. Is some more picture expressing parts of brain. Then medulla we will learn next link. So what we had learned this section is that brain and behavior, nerve system, different types of pictures I was given for more understanding. Medulla will be learned. Next important part of brain, medulla. Regulate heart rate, blood pressure and respiration, swallowing, sneezing, coughing, vomiting, medulla, bones, midbrain, known as brain stem. Cerebellum functions: involuntary movement, coordination, posture and equilibrium. Bones: bulbous structure, already we had seen in the picture, respiration and skeletal muscle tone. Metencephalon: connect the cerebrum with lower brain structure. Thalamus: integrates all sensory input except smell and involvement with emotions, mood. Can you see the thalamus? Hypothalamus.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Metencephalon and brainstem, their relationship here clearly we can see that detail we will learn in anatomy and physiology. Hypothalamus. Mainly this brain and behavior we should be concentrate towards only how brain how to control the behavior. So we need to think about that. Hypothalamus regulates anterior posterior lobe of the pituitary gland, control over the actions, regulates appetite and temperature. Lymphatic system: hippocampus, mammillary body, amygdala, olfactory tract, hypothalamus. The lymphatic system is sometimes called emotional brain. It has been controlled the all emotions of humans. Example associated with fear, anxiety, anger, aggression, love, joy, hope, sexuality, social behavior. Students, this is wonderful animated 3D picture. You can more understand about it. Look at this, red in color, hypothalamus. Can you see hypothalamus? Red in color. Amygdala, yes, thank you. Amygdala, green in color, control the emotions. Hippocampus, blue. Bones, golden color, golden. Pituitary gland, pink in color. You can see in center of the brain center. Some more pictures for more understanding and memorizing. Mesencephalon, after brain, medulla oblongata develops. Look at this, clearly we can see mesencephalon. Then metencephalon, embryonic part of its brain, differentiates bones and cerebellum. Fourth ventricle of trigeminal nerves, which is fifth cranial nerve, CNV, fifth cranial nerve, and abducens nerve, which is sixth cranial nerve, then facial nerve, which is seventh one. Next, vestibulo-ocular nerve, CN8. So these all the cranial nerves are directly involved in the behavior, each type of behavior. Mainly facial nerve control the faces and emotions. Vestibulo-ocular nerves mainly sense of, transfer the information regarding sound to brain. So this picture more visualizing what are the important parts. Dencephalon, look at this. Mesencephalon, this. Metencephalon, this. Then Mesencephalon, stem, brain stem. Mesencephalon, short part of brain, nerve pathway between central hemisphere and medulla oblongata. Center for visual reflex movement and telencephalon, subdivision, forebrain, compressed cortex, hippocampus, amygdala, olfactory bulb. This picture more visualizing. Then spinal cord, bundle of nerve, nearly all parts of body to the brain, from the central nervous system. Then functions of brain. Before I would like to some more discussion regarding this brain and their parts. So here I have been clearly explained about every parts of brain and their unique functions, which we had learned in here. Look at this. Everything clearly discussed and seen visually. Cerebellum.
Sir, cerebellum are considered with the involuntary movement.
Excellent.
Such
Yes.
as muscular tone.
Yeah. Nice answer, Vijay. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Next, we are going to functions of brain. Each parts of brain doing specific functions. Identify, organize, interpret, response. Functions of left and right hemisphere. So student, this is important question for examination. Functions of right and left hemisphere. Important for examination. Left hemisphere control speech, comprehension, rationality, logic. Right hemisphere.
Sir, ML ഒന്ന് അടിപ്പിക്കാം sir.
Okay. ML, okay. Right hemisphere. Creative part of brain associated with affect, behaviors, spatial, perceptual functions. We can see in this picture right brain functions: art, awareness, creativity, imagination, intuition, insight, music awareness, 3D forms, and left hand control. So which is, this right part of brain control left hand or left part of the body. Then left brain control right hand, right parts of the body. Analyze thought, logic, language, reasoning, science and maths, written, number skills, etc. Right hemisphere and left hemisphere, the same already we had been learned that seen in the picture. Creative, logic, imagination, language, intuition, reasoning, insight, science and maths, holistic thought, writing, music awareness, number skill, left hand control, then right hand control. More visualizing. Then right central hemisphere functions. This is more information regarding functions of the right and left brain. Write small, big pictures: verbal, non-verbal. Small music control, large music control. Intelligence, emotional, word comprehension, math calculations and math reasoning, maths. Processing information, interpreting information. Causes conscious and unconscious action, positive and negative emotions. Reactive auditory and interpreting auditory. sound, interpreting the sound. Linear and logic gets abstract. Impulsive action, safe action. Sameness, novelty. It means newness. Then activities, activates immunity and suppresses immunity. Then lobes of the brain, its functions. Each hemisphere is divided into first parental lobe, responsible for movement, including speaking, thinking, judgment formation, emotional experience, fear, aggressiveness, depression, rage, euphoria, irritability, apathy, etc. Frontal lobe. So this is a clear picture, shows that frontal lobe. No, look at this. Front, parietal, center, occipital, back, then temporal. So this is lateral view. The lateral view, we can see clearly that brain, then the lymphatic system. Look at this. Lobes of the brain and lymphatic. Parietal lobe responsible for sensory informations, mainly touch, pain, taste, language. Then temporal lobe, auditory functions. Temporal lobe, auditory functions, short-term memory, sense of smell, expression. Occipital lobe, visual reception, interpretation, etc. So now to choose, we will learn next class, okay? Which means now cell. Okay, this is also very important for examinations. And the brain and behavior, mainly concerning functions of right and hemisphere. Right and left hemisphere, most important for examination. So brain and behavior over. So I would believe that everybody more conceptualized regarding each parts of brain and what are their functions, how brain control behavior of individuals. I have given repeatedly their functions. Mainly this question asked, should we draw this picture, okay? Draw the flow chart. So here systematically express and write about it, each functions of each parts and how control, what are the behaviors are controlled by each parts of the brain. So this is psychological perspective regarding brain, how to control the behavior. Okay, now questions. Arsha. Arsha.
Sir,
Yes, can you list what are the types of lobes of the brain? Can you name lobes?
parietal lobe,
Yes,
yes, sir. Frontal lobe,
yes,
parietal lobe,
yes.
occipital lobe, and
Excellent,
temporal lobe.
excellent, wonderful answer. Can you list what are the functions of? Okay, thank you, Arsha. Thank you. Gopika PR, Gopika.
Yes, sir.
Can you list what are the functions of temporal lobe?
The question once more.
Functions of temporal lobe.
Yes, sir. They help for the auditory function, then short-term memory, the sense of smell and expression.
Expression. Excellent answer by. Thank you. Yes, do you have any questions regarding it? Anybody? Gopika, Nancy, George, Nancy, George. Nancy on. Yes, can't hear. Nancy.
Hello, sir.
Yes, which knowledge you would like this in this section? Brain and behavior.
Sir, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yes, which knowledge you would like, which we had been learned today's class?
Today's class, knowledge all about brain and its behavior,
Yeah.
how brain controls our body and behavior,
Yes.
and the parts of brain, and then about the nervous system, central and peripheral,
Yes.
and the parts of the brain with their functions.
Excellent. Thank you, Nancy.
Okay, sir.
Wonderful expression.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, students. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Angel.